Let's see who shows up. Otherwise, we're going to be doing a lot of talking about nothing to nobody. All right, we got some people. I don't have any plans. I'm just taking an hour break. Figured I would do a space and have a beer. Woo. So, I've been was out in Cape Cod for no reason other than I have a friend, or I should rather say we have a friend who let us stay with them for free. So it was nice. Saw some other friends on the way around, off season. So there was like nobody, or at least the traffic was much better than usual. I don't really spend a lot of time in the Cape. I grew up out in Western Mass, and we didn't really go there. We're more like lake people. And if we went to the ocean, we usually go to Rhode Island. So the Cape is like it's like its own state. Like I've never been to Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard. I have no idea what they're like. I imagine they're a lot like the Cape. Um, what I think is interesting about the Cape, or I was thinking about the Cape a lot, is that it's very much coded as like WASP, or like the American ruling class of, especially the Democrats, and you can definitely feel that walking around. There's it's all the churches are very. You can see which ones are still around. Obviously, there's this spattering of Catholics of the Portuguese and Italian and Irish varietals, from being fishing peoples who came over probably in the 19th century, more Brazilians and Portuguese lately. But the old money, the older families there generally go like progressive Methodist, Christian Scientist, Unitarian, Universalist, a lot of those. There's Episcopalians. And the only church I saw that was in a state of disrepair or effectively abandoned, was the Baptist church, which I thought was very funny considering the Baptists were there first. But that's how it tends to go. The Baptists, obviously, mostly associated with the South now. Got the Westboro Baptist Church, et cetera, et cetera. But the Baptists were originally, the stronghold was in Rhode Island and on the coast of New England. Traditionally, at least way back in the day, there's gay flags and Ukraine flags everywhere, as is customary around these parts. I suppose. I saw a pretty funny stand-up comedian bit. I don't remember who it was. It was one of those YouTube shorts. We were saying if you dropped an alien down in a city or any of these places in the Northeast, they wouldn't see any American flags, so they would just assume they were in gay Ukraine. I've been making that joke a lot because you don't really see that many American flags. When you do, it's like people are kind of like, it's kind of like people would roll their eyes at that. That's a Trump guy or whatever. Very a guy who's looked down upon in his homeowners association uh, out in Cape Cod. The other thing that's big politically going on, and just judging by the signs everywhere, is there's a gun control bill that's they're trying to put through in Massachusetts, which I always think is very funny because there's no single area in the entire world that has produced more guns than what used to be called the Gun Valley out here in the Pioneer Valley of Massachusetts. Was literally like the center of arms production, where the George Washington's armory was, Springfield rifles, et cetera, et cetera, Smith and Wesson, all these things. These guns were all made here, and now they're like, oh, gun culture is not good. We want to be more like Sweden and Denmark or whatever the fuck. But part of the bill, which is what I think is going to make it impossible to pass, I didn't even know about it until I saw it everywhere. I don't really pay attention to shit like that these days. But part of the bill is they're trying to ban, like, basically anyone under 15 from using a gun in any capacity whatsoever. So, which is just gonna like destroy. Like, there's no way it's gonna pass because hunting is a big thing, especially out in the rural areas. And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you can't go hunting with your fucking like 13-year-old son or whatever." That's gonna be it's gonna cause a lot of problems down at the Rod and Gun Club, is what I would think. Um, It's interesting. I don't know. I was arguing about this with people who are very much on the opposite side of things, talking about common sense, gun control legislation, blah blah blah, school shootings, etc. They always want to blame the guns, or they think that you can just use state power, that you put in a law and then everyone follows it. But at the same time, they don't feel that way on the reverse side of things. Like you talk about abortion, and they go, "Oh, well, if the state bans abortion, then it'll just be like, there'll be like criminal abortions, like underground black market abortions going on." Or the same thing with marijuana. If the state bans, all these people are generally progressive when it comes to these issues. But when it comes to gun ownership, they just they're just too emotionally invested. They're too emotionally invested, and they are not a part of like the gun culture. Generally, they're not people who like own guns or have any interest in guns just in and of themselves. Generally, they think that so then, like, oh well, if we just had like common sense gun control, then there wouldn't be school shootings. And they don't like it when you press back and you go, well, why are there school shootings? Is it just because there's guns around? Like, why do people want to shoot up their schools? They don't really like that. Where that line of questioning goes. I don't know. It's very impossible to have conversations about this. The other thing is, like, I don't know. I try to play like the middle in the discourse quite a bit, because I get, if I even like take up any of these arguments in earnest, all it's going to do is like increase the personal animosity towards me. I don't know if it's like slippery or not to do this, but I'll say like, well, like this is what other people say, and you do share a country with these people. So how do you think they're going to feel if you start trying to take their guns away? Don't you think that would radicalize them into like more egregious acts? Like the types that you wouldn't like, and like, well, we do live in a country that was founded by what you would call insurrectionists and terrorists who organized an illegal militia to do a coup against the legal regime of the time. So it is a bit odd that it's like, like the Second Amendment isn't really for hunting. We all know this. The Second Amendment exists so that you could have a people's militia literally organize revolutionary violence against the state if that became necessary. It's very explicit, very, very explicit, especially historically so. But this is a type of historical inheritance that these progressive types, they believe we've evolved beyond this. There's no need for the threat or the existence of revolutionary violence in order to like tame the state. They fundamentally believe the state itself is like regulates itself, like it shouldn't be questioned in this sort of populistic way, because it's like a regime of experts or expertise or what have you. So the gun experts should be the ones who are allowed to have guns, someone who's taken a gun class, someone who's certified. It's like a public educator or whatever. It's not like, of course, like public educators never do anything wrong because they're certified, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, this is like the big discourse here these days. People fall very, very hard on one side or the other. I'm definitely more. I'm definitely like, I mean, I don't own any guns. Like, I'm not particularly interested in guns myself, just as like a hobby or something. And I'm not particularly fearful for my life. Where I would like need a gun for protection or whatever. But I've always been a very strong like Second Amendment supporter, as was Karl Marx, of course, as we all know. Marx said the proletariat should never be disarmed. Um, and I appreciate the tradition and history of all this, where this all came from. And unlike these people, I think it's a big tragedy that the gun manufacturers have basically disappeared in America, in New England. All of these jobs disappeared, and it's not like they were replaced by anything like, oh, we're making solar panels. Although there is that, but there's a ton of job openings for producing parts for missiles and shit like that. Like that's still what we do here is precision weapons manufacturing. Raytheon has a lot of shit going on here, etc. So I just find it very funny how that goes. You wouldn't want people to be able to own an AR-15. That's always the one that they're trying to get rid of, is the AR-15 specifically. Who needs an assault rifle? You can't. What are you going to use that for? And it's like, well, the kind of everyone knows that you're supposed to have one, or like the idea of having one is because you can, and because you can means that the state would be limited in terms of certain actions. Like I think it's New Mexico, right, where they're trying to push gun control pretty hard right now. Um, I just think it's psychotic to like push people who are like super pro Second Amendment, et cetera, to push them on this, because it's like it's like if you had a friend who you knew was a Christian, right? And let's say you don't believe in Christianity whatsoever, and you think it's all bullshit. And then you just show up and you start like painting pentagrams and goat's blood outside their door and things like this. It's like a form of of terrorism, really, to be like, oh, we are gonna take your guns. It's like, okay, do you want to drive these people into doing like acting like they're literally under siege? Like that's gonna be bad for everyone, don't you think? Isn't this the thing that you would like to avoid? But I don't know. Maybe they don't. I don't. I feel like there's some perverse sense that these people want the state to like take care of it, and they would just be like, huh, like it's like COVID stuff where people were very gung ho about um, stripping each other of their liberties so long as they didn't have to be personally responsible for it in a kind of individualized manner. They could just say like, well, I'm just being a good person by following the experts, et cetera, et cetera. Then you can see this sort of id, the hidden id getting fed off of that. It's like the male feminist rapists, etc., where it's like this. You can sort of see the disguise of the kind of more fundamental base motives being hidden behind this fake patina of civility, of classiness, etc. This wouldn't happen in other countries because other countries aren't crazy like we are. And what we need is to have the state educate everyone forcibly so that we can be more respectable in the global market or whatever the fuck. Anyway, those are the things I've been thinking about lately, just because that's what everyone's talking about around here. And you can see it on the lawn signs, the lawn sign discourse. I only saw one Kennedy supporter out in Cape Cod. I only saw one sign that was for RFK Jr. And from all I know, I don't know. I watched him on Tim Dillon the other day. He seems okay. I don't know. I don't have strong feelings about him at all. I'd like to see him, upset the other Democrats, but he seems to be getting the Ron Paul treatment. And I'm pretty sure that he's like being artificially deflated algorithmically because you can sort of see a massive fall off of impressions for his content and things like that, coming out of almost nowhere. There's not really a logical explanation for it aside from like someone pressed the shadow ban button. Even like Tim Dillon was he didn't advertise the podcast as having RFK Jr. on it, and like the power goes out in the middle of it, and RFK Jr. Gets all spooked out like he's gonna get assassinated there or something. You can tell he's sort of annoyed out, probably for good reasons, but it's also sad because like the majority of his family doesn't even support his candidacy, and neither do the constituents out on Cape Cod. They're gonna ride with Biden. Things are fine for them. They can weather all these storms. They go, oh yeah, inflation, that's a problem in theory, but they're used to paying high prices for everything out there. They don't give a shit. Anyway, if anyone wants to come on and talk about some stuff, I'm going to do this for about an hour. What other Cape Cod stuff was there? I was saying, it has like it's like peak New England old money aesthetic. Very big on TikTok these days is what's called old money aesthetic in America, which is specifically the sort of Cape Cod Wasp, Martha's Vineyard aesthetic. You got the cedar shake shingles, you've got your hydrangeas, you've got your oysters, obviously. You got your like classy but not ostentatious dress, a pearl necklace, like a simple simplicity in that. I think it is like it is a good representation of what America's aristocracy actually is like aesthetically, which is why you can see someone like the more showy or gaudy, like kind of new rich Hollywood luxury, big money, driving a Ferrari type thing is actually is considered very vulgar. That's considered like a poor person's idea of a rich person, etc. That's why this class of people did not like Donald Trump at all. Don't like people like that is because their notion of wealth is like Warren Buffett style wealth, where it's like you have bajillions of dollars across these NGOs and all these things, and you're like raising money for philanthropy. And in the meantime, you've been driving the same car you've always driven, and You dress in like North Faces, etc., and you've got like nice things that don't look nice. They're like nice, expensive things, but you can't really tell the difference between it and what the average person has. Like it's like the difference between shopping at a place called I think it's called Puritan. There's like a clothing line out there called Puritan, and it's like even more classed up version of like Vineyard Vines. And it's like the difference between those things, where if you're walking on the street, you can't really tell the difference. You can't tell who has money and who's just a tourist openly, because pretty much everyone in New England dresses like the same. Other people say we dress like shit, but we just kind of dress the way people dress here. LL Bean styled flannel sort of like it's a practical, but it's also kind of affected because it's like, man, you're not really going camping, are you? Why do you need camping boots? But that's how it is here. Everyone's got their fleeces. That's a fun word, fleece, for that. Um, I think of when I think of this, I think of in Succession when they meet up with the old money family that owns what's like the equivalent of the New York Times in that universe. They're out in Cape Cod and sitting on their wicker furniture, talking about how they worship Shakespeare and things like that. Like it's very explicitly like WASP coded slash Cape Cod royalty coded. This is the actual aesthetic of the oligarchy here. It's a type of democratic aristocracy where it's like oh we're not showing you how much more we have than you. We're very humble in our wealth, and we would never spoil our children. Like we want them all to go work for NGOs and to get good grades in their prep schools, and not to lord it over on the poor folk, but to ask the cab driver what he thinks. Like this type of a democratic attitude amongst the aristocracy is what is appreciated here. In a more broad sense, it's like when people are like, "Oh, I met this very rich celebrity, and they were actually very down to earth." Like that's what people appreciate here. They also like on the flip side, people also do appreciate just like the fucking fuck you. I got money. I got mine. I can have a gold plated Ferrari and overdose on crack and drive it into a wall or whatever. These things are all next to each other here in our relations, our class relations. Mage, beautiful. What's up, Mage? I hate talking to myself. I'm literally just pacing around. I don't know what to do with myself though when it comes to this sort of content grind. I've been trying to write more in my novel with the little time that I have, but I just feel sort of like I don't really care that much about the discourse and all the bullshit that's going on. It's like fucking people always trying to debate each other on trivia so that they can like be the trivia knower. I don't really care. I do think it's funny that once again, like Bap's out there being like, "Hey, look at my 23andMe. I'm Jewish." It's very funny. I don't know. I knew way too much of all this stuff a long time ago. It's just very funny to see it all just like be out in the open at this point, and kind of no one cares anymore. Um, that whole discourse is very behind us now. Now that it's no longer really relevant to anything, it can become part of the canon. I read that article about the guy with Teal Money who was saying that he was going to build a city in the Mediterranean. Did you guys read this? I forget who published this. I saw this was going around. I'm bringing this up because one of the things that they were canceling him for, I think he hired Mike Ma um, as part of his media team, and he was like making his employees read BAP, and like he had like a secret closet with like Evola books in it or whatever the fuck. What I think is really funny about the people who are getting like really offended or scared by the crypto fascists with the tail money, etc., is that these people are all just fucking grifting. And like grifting teal money is actually kind of based if you think about it, because there's no way this guy is going to accomplish literally fucking anything. Not like any of these people are going to accomplish literally fucking anything other than improve their media profiles. That's all they really want to do. They just want this money so that they can like throw parties and things like that. And honestly, go off, queen. Like it, I feel like it's less people are teal. A lot of these people have much firmer hands now than they did back in 2020, 2021. They were throwing money around, man. Venture capital was fucking crazy then, dude. Like they were printing money and they were just throwing it out at shit. It was fucking nuts. It was the craziest market for grifting rich people and to to just have them like committed to just funding your bullshit for however long you want to do it for. There are many such cases. When I was out in the SF, I knew a lot of people were making money doing that. I kept coming up with my VC elevator pitches, like, oh, put me in a room with these people, I'll get like a $5 million valuation for well, I'm calling it Tinder, but for pizza dates. And like I don't know, I can't be mad at people who are like clearly on the edge of sanity, just wanting to become famous and taking money from scandalous sources just to like do ultimately nothing with it. It's like it's kind of like cool in a way. I don't know, like if George Soros, I would take a George Soros grant. Like, get me in a room with George Soros. Give me like $10 million. I'll be like, yeah, we're making a movie. It's going to really help your cause. Is the color revolution in America, and then I'll just like fund an anime adaptation of Pigeons Mason and Dixon. Just get them really in the hole on that. Just fuck over some producers. That would be great. Like, I feel like people need to do that. Like, do more like K Fabe. Like, dress up in the style, say the things you got to say, get those evaluations, and then just do something completely left field with it. That's the best thing you could possibly do with other people's money. All right. We got Stefan. What can I do for you, Stefan? You got to unmute yourself if you know how to do that, and then we can chat.
How's
What's
it
up, man?
sound?
Sounds good, man. What's up, man? What can I do for you?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to comment on the vibe you were describing of the teal grifters and the Mediterranean island type thing, and I don't know, it really has just like Burning Man vibes
It's
where
literally, yeah, it is. It's straight
it's
up where
like
it's like we're gonna do Burning Man all the time, and people are like, "Oh, I'll throw money at that." Like you catch one of these fucking weird, founder guys who's made a bunch of money in the Silicon Valley boom. They're all fucking ketamine out or whatever, and just get them to sign the checks. Just get them to sign the
yeah,
checks.
yeah, like they don't want to like create like a stable like social formation of like a long lasting civilization. They just want to like throw the biggest party on an island in Greece or something,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
straight up. The thing
I
I
don't know,
always
it
think
kind of
about is, do you remember the Jake Paul fight? That was on like an island, like it was like on a fucking oil derrick or something in the middle of the ocean. I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was like, and it was funded by some weird, like Snoop Dogg was there, and like Pete Davidson was there. They had like Doja Cat and like Justin Bieber perform at it, and it was like all through this like weird, this like gambling like cryptocurrency app or some shit. Do you remember this? Like that's what they're all trying to do. Like they're all trying to get to that level of just like blatantly like producing a money laundering opportunity through some type of absurd spectacle.
absolutely, yeah. And it's just like a startup that just crashes, like gets a ton of money and then crashes and burns because like the money has nowhere to go. There's no like actual like value proposition to consumers like in the long term. But it
No, no,
also, I mean,
no.
I feel like it relates to like the New England aesthetic thing you were kind of talking about, where like I don't know, like you see rich people on like the Cape and shit, like you can imagine like the Kennedys, like if you can picture in your head what the Kennedy like estate looks like, it probably just looks like a normal house in some ways. Where it's like out west, like the mansions out there, they look very
Oh
there's like
yeah,
a certain
no.
like modernism and
They all have
elaboration.
the sort of a colonial style is sort of enforced even on the state or township level. Like there's actually like aesthetics laws in New England about like what like towns put them up themselves because it's like tourism is a huge part of the economy as people coming even within New England to other parts of New England, etc. It's already very much like a Disney World economy. I remember I probably said this a million times in various places, but my first job ever was for the local broadcast, like the town. town television, like local access cable, etc. And I would film town hall meetings. So that meant that I had to like basically audit and watch town hall meetings, like every sort of imaginable town hall fucking meeting you can imagine, like all the time, like pretty much all of them. I was there, like filming the whole thing, cutting between camera angles and shit with their like 1980s ass equipment in the back. So I watched a lot of these, and like tons of them are just like old like selectmen, etc., who've been voted in, like they're like old families from the area, being like, oh yeah, you have to make sure that like your signage fits our criteria for how big a sign can be, etc. It has to be this sort of aesthetic. Like you can't build anything that is outside of the colonial aesthetic in these towns. No businesses, houses, even, depending on like where you are. Everything has to sort of look the same way, which is like they consider it like a part of like the value of the whole town or the area itself. Like this one Chinese restaurant tried to flout their regulations on what it was supposed to look like, and they tried to make a Chinese looking building, and they shut that shit down. They're like, hell no, if you want to have a Chinese restaurant, it's gonna look like a colonial building. Like you have to build it this way. But they'd already started building the thing, so now it's this abomination that's like 50% Chinese, and then like the top part is like more colonial. It's pretty funny. I think about that every time I drive by. But that's how it is here. Like you literally, I'm even looking at this fucking neoliberal ass condominium that I live in right now, and it's vaguely like it fits slightly within the like colonial aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean, people just want to live in these like Wrath of Non, like little like hamlets, and that's their like pretense. Like I don't even know how much it has to do with tourism, because like how many people really go into Western Mass for tourism? I don't know
A
if it's
lot
like
of people, a lot of people. The
really.
Brimfield, yeah. Oh, the other thing I didn't talk about, I went to the Brimfield flea market before that. The Brimfield flea market, biggest fucking flea market in the world. Extremely important event for people who care about antiques and shit like that. Celebrities go there to buy fucking shit, overpriced T-shirts or whatever. A bunch of bric-a-brac to fill your house with, a bunch of antiques. Hollywood prop people go there to collect things for period pieces, movies, and background details, and costumery, things like that. So it's actually like it's mostly a tourist economy out in Western Mass, where it isn't like a university town. Especially in the fall, people come to see the leaves. They come to fucking go to apple orchards and pumpkin patches and whatnot. Like tourism is actually pretty fucking vital. That's what keeps our like at the town the where I grew up. We have what we when the flea market comes in, right? We talk about the fleas. Those are the people who show up only for the flea market. They put all of the local hotels and motels in the black for the year. They fill up every single restaurant in the area, and that's basically what keeps it going. Not only that, but there's also Old Sturbridge Village, not too far away, which is like a living history museum where you get tourism, but you're also getting like field trips and shit like that. So it really is like a huge tourism economy. Um, believe it or not, like New England is actually huge for tourism.
Yeah, that is kind of like an interesting point. I mean, I guess there is like a sense where like a lot of like the little towns are like known for like their one like specific like historical thing. Especially, I mean, Salem is a really good example where
Yeah,
they had
they're
this
huge
one.
for tourism. All the witchy
Absolutely.
Wiccans and shit go there for fucking Halloween. It's fucking packed.
Have you ever been to New Bedford?
I mean, I've been through it. I didn't I didn't check it out for too long, but yeah,
Oh yeah, no. So that's like they're super into just the whaling,
yeah, yeah. That's where Moby Dick starts,
like, or Moby
basically.
Dick, like brew shit like that, and it's
You're cutting in and out a little.
thing that they're known for.
Yeah, the whales. I think you're cutting in and out a little, or maybe I am. I can't tell from my side, but yeah, no, there's like New England is very much a touristy place. You could say that universities in general are kind of, I would almost say, like a subset of tourism. Like people want to go to a quaint little New England college. It has a big appeal to going to any of like what the five sister colleges out in Amherst, or There's a ton of schools everywhere. I'm in Worcester. There's a bunch of schools here. People come to go to school in Worcester quite frequently. You got WPI. You got a bunch of like more graduate medical stuff. Tons of, so it's like really like also you could I would like hospitality and tourism. Like where do those distinguish themselves? Back in the day, they were the same thing. You'd go on to a tourist retreat, to take the airs or the waters or whatever, and that was considered like a health thing. So really, like tourism is like a subset of the fire sector, finance, insurance, real estate. Obviously, real estate huge for tourism, but tourism's huge, man. Tourism is if you don't make anything, you can make experiences, as they say. We provide experiences. Experience New England. That's a huge selling point. There's also like because it's between Hartford, New York, Boston, etc. There's a lot of business conferences and stuff like that. Lots of fucking conferences for all sorts of things. Also huge for the economy of the area, service industry, very, very much more so than production. Stefan dropped. But anyway, all of that's still true. What I'm saying is still true. The services here are primary. This is a little game I play wherever I go. I go, what do they make here? What is made here? What do they make here? When it comes to like real goods, we got seltzer. We got seltzer, baby, right here in Worcester Polar, the best seltzer brand. All right, Mage, I'm adding you. You gotta accept my ad. What's up, dude?
Yo, not much. I got a carrot in my mouth, so I'm chewing a
Nice.
carrot. And one sec, I'm repeating.
You're rape eating, dude. That's
Hmm.
based. You're like a donkey.
Oh, thank you. I love when Jesus rides me. It feels good. Uh,
How have you
um,
been, man?
I'm good, man. I started the Confidence Man. Shit's crazy.
Dude, Confidence Man is so good. I've read that a couple times. I haven't read it in a few years at this point, but it's one of those books that you want to mark up because you're like trying to figure out who the Confidence Man is at all times because he keeps changing figures.
Yeah, it's feels like it's literally everyone at this. It's a wild book so far.
That's like
But
the one thing I
it's
always thought was
great.
funny is that he uses like old Elizabethan slang for like a weed, like weed being like a sort of fashion or a disguise or like clothing of some sort, like oh like the shepherd
Oh,
donning the shepherd's weed and stuff like that. And
yeah.
Spencer, but it's funny to think like because then there's like there's like the guy's like where's the old man with the weed like that's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, which sounds
Uh,
like it's like seems very, very modern, but it means something totally different.
yeah, no, it definitely does feel that way. It's very it's funny.
Although I will
Um,
say, the only time I've ever been the actual victim of a real confidence man in my entire life was early on when I first moved to New York. Like first year I lived in New York City, and
mm,
I was like I was at a bodega or whatever. I was getting food,
mm,
and this like old black man comes up to me, and he's like, yo, I just got out of jail. Like he's giving me his whole life story. I think he's like begging me for money or whatever. But he's like, yo, you smoke that weed though? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. And I didn't know how to get it at the time. Like I hadn't smoked it for months because like I didn't have any like except at like parties or whatever because I didn't know how to
yeah,
like
yeah,
get
yeah.
get in on the fucking black market of it all at the time. And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, I got some. Like, I'll sell you some or whatever. And I was like, all right. And he's like, just follow me out this way. I was like, okay. Me being a trusting idiot, and he didn't rob me or anything, but he was just very sus with it. Like, he's like, oh, how much you want? I was like, I don't know, like $40. He's like, okay. And he's like, he's like, just pass me the money. I'll get it from my car. And I was like, I don't
Oh
know,
my
dude. Like,
God.
I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, I kind of want to see it before I buy it. And he's like, I don't know, dude. I'm a little sussed out. There's some cops around here. He's like, but let me tell you what I'll do. Like, we're gonna walk this way. I'm gonna put it into your pocket. you put the money into my pocket, and then we'll part ways, like we don't know each other or whatever." And I'm
Oh,
like,
like a
"Okay,
little handshake.
yeah, yeah." So I'm like, "All right, whatever. I don't fucking know. I'm a kind of paranoid person as well." Um, so I was like, "Yeah, I mean, if I was selling drugs in New York, I'd be paranoid too, especially if I just got out of jail. Here, my dumbass." And so he shoves the thing in my pocket. It feels like about $40 worth to me. So I give him the money. I turn the corner, I take it out of my pocket, and it's a Ziploc bag full of like napkins and shit. And I was like, ah, fuck. I was like, God damn it.
You got. That's beautiful.
That's the only
Uh,
time I've ever been successfully hustled like that before.
I mean, it sounds like a Looney Tunes cartoon. It's
It
great.
was
Like,
pretty funny though. I kind of appreciated it at the time. I was kind of like, damn, that was a good one. You got me.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's funny.
Although forty
Um,
dollars to me back then was a lot of money, so I was also pissed.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I got like hustled at Anime Expo. I just paid the guy to make him leave me alone. He was hassling me for like like a caricature artist, and I was like,
Oh
I didn't want
man,
you to do that. I just paid him to get
what did he
away
do?
from
Like
me.
draw half of it, and he's like, I'll finish. Like it's gonna cost
No,
more
no,
to
no.
finish.
He like drew it and then was like, "Oh, like you gotta pay for that." And I was like, I don't want it." And then he like wouldn't leave me alone, and I was just like, "Go away." And it was like my parents' money, so I didn't care.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I
but
was thinking,
yeah.
did you ever experience like I don't know if they have these in LA, but they're I don't know if they even exist in New York anymore. It's kind of an old hustle, but like the guys who would like kind of corner you and try to get you to buy their like CD, their like mix CD or
Yeah,
whatever.
no, that exists in LA, but it's like
Yeah.
particular parts of LA. It's like Venice Beach shit.
I had a really good time with one of those guys once because he was like trying to get. I was like, all right, bro, what's your SoundCloud? I was like, I'll check it out, and he was like, no, I got a CD, and I was like, you don't have a fucking SoundCloud, and you're a
Oh
rapper.
my
And
God.
I was like, are you even serious about your craft? Like, and then he was like getting all like, he was like, he like was like then asking me for like business advice on like how to be a rapper in the 21st century. And I was like, bro, you need a SoundCloud. Like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And he's like, yo, he was like trying to give me his phone number and shit. It was so funny.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
It
That's
was
so
clearly
good.
it was like this guy who was like just trying to do the same hustle he did like in the late '90s or something in the year like 2014 probably. It was very funny.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Um,
The confidence, man. That's why it's such an eternal theme. It's because they're literally out on the prowl. I was
no,
thinking
I
of this
do.
also because of the solar panel shit, which I was just talking about, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah. Well, no,
because
that's what I was thinking of with your whole flea market stuff. You know, that's what it
oh, dude,
is.
the flea market is good. The flea market is good when you're a kid, like, especially it's a big lesson. I remember learning that haggling was possible, that you can haggle.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
holy shit, like the price isn't what the price says. Like you can get it for less if you're a baller. And you're like, I remember it being my grandfather, RIP, was never more proud of me than at one time because he loved deals like nobody's
Hmm.
business. That's not just a Jewish thing. That's
I
also
know, I
yeah.
know.
But he loved his deals. Um I remember like we were at like one of these flea market type things and there was a thing I really wanted. I forget what it was. It was some stupid hat or something. And I was like, I'm only paying $15 for this. And the guy was like, I want it for 20. He's like, it's $20 on the tag. And I was like, all right. And I just walked away, which is what my grandpa said. He's like, you always got to be ready to walk away. And then the guy was like, okay, okay, I'll do it for 15. And my grandpa had the biggest fucking smile on his face, like observing me, like getting a deal, like getting $5 off on a hat or whatever. It was great.
That's 20. It's 25%. You know, that's solid.
That's solid, dude. That's a good ass fucking deal.
Yeah. You know, you gotta take those W's when you can. Yeah, I love haggling at like the bookshops.
Oh, yeah, the
They
used
get
bookstore.
uppity with me.
Oh, dude, I'm such an asshole at the used bookstore because I'll have, like a stack of 10 books. I'll be like, yeah, I'll give you $10 for this whole stack, like of like
Oh,
paperbacks or
dude,
whatever. And
I
they'll be
gotta
like,
get to
what are the
that
prices
level.
on it? And I'm like, you got too much volume. You don't even want these.
Man, I gotta go for that. That's a good strat. The problem is like in LA, it's like it's these like they're like half indie bookstores, half used ones.
Yes, those are
You
the
know what I
worst,
mean?
dude. That's such a
I hate
grift. I
it.
fucking hate those, dude. I fucking hate when I walk into something that says it's a used bookstore and then they're selling the fucking latest shit and I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like trans baby tales or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, at full sticker price. Like, get the fuck out of here. And they're really making money
Yeah,
on their coffee, and it's a community space or whatever. It's like, fuck you. I want
I
to be in a
hate it.
warehouse. I want to be in a disheveled warehouse with literal stacks of books that
I
you
don't
have to
have
look through
service.
yourself.
I don't want to have
Yeah.
service. I want to be in the basement. Like,
Yes. I want to be going through the stacks. That's what I want. I want to be digging through it like it's a fucking good Salvation Army.
dude, those are the only places that'll give you good deals too. Like the indie bookstore ones just like hate you. They're just like, I looked it up on Amazon, and that's kind of expensive. I had like a Zoomer tell me that that like wouldn't sell me Arthur Golding's Ovid translation in hardcover because I was like, you need to go down on this. And he
Damn.
refused. And then I looked up the bookstore like 2 days ago. It doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, get fucked.
Yeah,
Get
get
fucked.
fucked. All those books got sold as a lot and as
Yeah.
one fucking thing. Yeah.
If they
Goddamn.
got sold, if they got sold, you know?
Oh, but Mage, I wanted to continue the confidence man thing on
Oh,
solar
yes,
panels
please.
because this was a story I encountered recently. I know a ton of people who are doing solar through some means or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
veterans of the multi-level marketing schemes of Facebook Marketplace and shit like that, who are now
Yes, yes.
solar panel guys or whatever. One of my good friends, he just has a job installing them, so he's really doing like roofing stuff, and he's getting like his electrician certificate or whatever. So I
Oh,
think
okay.
I give him a pass, but the people fucking selling this shit, I do not give a pass. Anyway, I was at a liquor store, and the guy in front of me was a solar panel guy, and he starts trying to pitch the cashier at the liquor store on
What?
putting solar panels on top of the liquor store. And the guy's like, "What the fuck are you talking to me for?" And he's like, "What about your own house? Do you own a house?" And the guy's like, "I'm fucking gonna sell my house." And he's like, "Well, you could up the valuation if you put some solar panels on." Like, it's like they couldn't, like the guy was, they can't stop, they can't help themselves. They have to pitch 24/7. Like that's their life is just like to constantly be
The
doing their
game.
sales story, getting people into a sales funnel. It's fucking crazy.
Jesus Christ. They're addicted to the game.
Well, I mean, that's how you make money here. Like, I don't know, my brother's in sales right now, but
Yeah.
by sales, I mean he's really doing recruiting for like placement of medical technicians at various hospitals, and what they do, like, so he has to pitch people on getting this job at a certain price point, and he's trying to one simultaneously pitch them on taking the job, and two pitch them a price point lower than the one that the hospital is asking for because he gets to make the difference. So it's
Oh
really
my
like,
God.
yeah, exactly. So it's like a balance. Like your job is to just like be psyoping these people while like cultivating like friendships with them and like giving them jobs that they think are like great steals and like never letting on that like you're making money off of them that they could be making if they had just gotten the job itself. Uh, like that's like the real industries around here. And then meanwhile the corporation also, you know what I mean, it's like when you're if you go to like work in an insurance company in sales or whatever, it's literally just like a pit of endless night because 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 like you make your money by accruing this like this like book, this binder full of people that you signed on to the service or whatever, and you get like recurring money from every time they re-sign up or anytime the contract goes through again. So you want to build up, like you start off making like nothing, but then like, and then you're also making money on delay because you only get the money after the contract's gone through. So you do all this work up front for months making no money, trying to just get all these contacts, etc. And then once they start signing, then like 3 months out from that, you'll start getting money from them having signed, and that money keeps like going up if you keep doing it, right? But
Mm.
if you ever leave the company, you don't get to keep your clients. The clients just become owned by the company. So like you like, and you have like non-compete clauses and things like that, right? So you can't be like,
Oh,
oh,
so you just have to stay there forever.
yeah. So as soon as you start making, the more money you make, the more stuck you are. Like you can never go
Oh
anywhere,
God.
or otherwise you're going to lose all of these recurring monies that would be coming to you if you were still working.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
And it's not like it's going to other new hires. It just goes straight to the fucking bank of the company,
Yeah,
you
they just
know?
get rid of you.
Yeah, they just get rid of you. So they also want to like have like a huge churn. So they like make life a living hell for the employees because they want to like have them just like get burnt through and
Just say fuck it.
yeah, because like let's say they come in and they get like two clients and then they dip. It's like, okay, that's free money for us. That you've made us all these recurring funds and we don't have to pay you out from it anymore. That's the American
Do they
economy.
do they have to pay them out if they fire them, or is it only
No,
they? Oh, yeah, it's really fucked then. Got it. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it's extremely fucked. Like you can get fired for anything. So then also like this puts
yeah.
up. So like then the HR departments, etc. Like, oh yeah, this guy was acting real sus at the Christmas party, and it's like, yeah, he's got to like let's get rid of him. Like that's so it's crazy, dude.
Oh my God. Yeah, the one time I like experienced a recruiter, I like totally saw what the game was because it was like this like BPD, it was like this BPD HAPA woman recruiting me to like Disney. And she just like talked really fast and like kept talking about her mom and like baited me into like oversharing shit and being like
Yes.
very, very comfortable with her. And I was like, this is insane. She was like a very like charming, like a very charming like Apple woman, and I was like, what the fuck? Like this was not this. This was like constructed to fuck with me. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
That's
It,
America. Like you like literally you can never be paranoid enough. And it also like like this country and the economy, the way everyone's making their money off of confidence games, the confidence man, Herman Melville, it makes you it destroys your confidence in humanity itself. Because if you're like let's say a naive good person and you like a trusting person of people who are like putting on a performance of being trustworthy, etc. You're like a sheep being led to the slaughter, you know, like all the time. Like you're surrounded by fucking wolves.
yeah, yeah. It's I don't I have some trouble sometimes.
Dude, I have trouble because like I'm always like I know I'm getting fucked. I know I'm getting fucked in this way and this way, like all the time. Like I'm smart enough to know like how people are fucking me, but I also know that like most of the time the people that you're interfacing with aren't the people who are fucking you. They're just like the representatives, and they're like also getting
Yeah,
fucked. So it's like. Well, it's like I can't like it's like yelling at like a call center employee or something when it's like
yeah,
really you got
yeah.
to beef with the fucking corporation and it's like this person's just there to observe to like absorb all of your fucking like well placed ire with the corporation in general. But their job is just to like absorb that. You know what I mean? Like it's fucked.
Yeah, yeah. They're the you know they're the guy with the American flag doing the T pose in front of all the flurry of knives. You know.
Yeah, yeah. You get hired to just like take bullets for like the C suite. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh
All right.
man.
All right,
Yeah.
I got one person who's been requesting, so I'm gonna let them talk and then I'm gonna
All
be
right.
done. But it's
All
been
right.
nice talking to you, Mage. Peace,
Yeah.
brother.
Much love. Much love.
All right, Sun Diana. We can do a really quick thing, and then I'm gonna bounce. So, what can I do for you, pal?
Oh, am I on now?
Yeah, you're on. What's up?
Okay, cool. Oh, I was just listening to your the conversation you were just having. Reminded me of a similar experience with just like cutthroat sales.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, no, the most money I ever made in a job was like at this I don't know how to describe it. Workplace of the future with a fucking bowling alley in the basement.
Oh, nice.
Ass
It was one of those.
Oh yeah, no, it was amazing. The benefits, a doctor on site, um, like great benefits, absolutely soul crushing work where we were just encouraged to be as sociopathic as is humanly possible. I mean, I don't care if you hear kids screaming in the background. You're gonna have to swindle this, the woman you're talking to who called you about DirecTV into signing up for a satellite dish, even though she lives in like Colorado.
Yeah.
Just just soul crushing. And I had this boss who would huddle us up in a conference room every week and scream at us for half an hour. Um,
Good motivation.
red, I don't know. I mean, just red in the face, horrible screaming, for half an hour. And like uh, one day I took a Uber to work. Usually drove, and someone was like, oh, the driver was like, oh, you work there? Do you do coke? And I was like, what?
Yeah, they're all on Adderall and blow, dude. That's why
Like,
you get your sales
oh,
tunnel. You got to get into your sales
yeah.
tunnel, like pure sociopathy, fucking line. You
It
know,
makes me feel a little worse that I was just like good at it sober.
doing
Most
it
money I've
sober.
ever made. Yeah, no. I didn't know what was up with everybody. I just thought they liked their job a lot. I
Oh
mean,
no,
there's a
no, it's
bowling
true.
alley in the basement.
it's like getting pimped, you know, where it's like, oh, this guy's house is nice. Like, I'm gonna stay
Yeah.
here. Like, it's like Andrew Tate shit.
Yeah, no, I hate that I have a affinity for that.
It's
But
like
I'm gonna
all of a
let y'all
sudden you
go.
realize,
Yeah,
all of a sudden you realize wait, I wasn't just
yeah,
fucking those guys for free, like
yeah.
just because we were friends. Like this, I'm getting prostituted. What the fuck? Thought we were
Gotcha.
pals.
All right. Yeah, I'll let y'all go. Thanks much for letting
All
me
right,
speak, though. Goodbye.
for sure, for sure. Peace. Yo, that's mad funny. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up there. But that is what it's like as an American. A lot of the times you realize, wait a minute, I've been getting fucking pimped out. What the fuck? Like everyone's high. Holy shit. That's America. Good night.